What's a really harmless thing you judge people for anyway? The way they occupy space in public areas. People who stop in the middle of the pavement/sidewalk to look at their phone or tie their shoe. People who open car doors without looking behind them. People who stop at the bottom of escalators or shop doorways. People who skew their shopping trolley across the aisle while they stand and gaze at produce in the supermarket. Just generally oblivious and inconsiderate people. They're not murdering anyone, they're just making everyone else's lives a little bit more awkward and inconvenient for no reason or benefit whatsoever. And I judge them for it. Opening a car door without looking could absolutely murder someone. Saw a bicyclist badly injured because of this. Pedaled straight into the driver's side door window, which broke and he hung there. It was horrible. If that idiot in the car had taken 2 seconds to glance out his side mirror, it could have been prevented. That happened over 30 years ago, and I still remember it in horrific detail. I just posted a similar story, except the guy in my story straight up died. I'm actually named after my mom's best friend from high school who died because someone opened their car door without looking, and he hit it on his bike. This was the 70s, so he wasn't wearing a helmet, and he smashed his head in the fall. I saw 2 elderly ladies stop in middle of crosswalk to chat. When cars honked on of ladies shouted drive around. I hate this, especially because I'm so anxious about being that person. If I can devote a few brain cells to looking around me and stopping in out of the way places, so can you. And if you can't be bothered, you just get judged even harder. One of the few redeeming benefits of getting older is just not caring about these situations. What I mean by that is I don't care if I come off as rude when I bump past them, run into their shopping cart a little too hard, or embarrassing them by too loudly for the situation saying, "Excuse me, do you mind?" so other people in the area see they're being inconsiderate. It's so liberating. I confess that I do the same. My last subway ride, a few weeks ago, was on a crowded train. Crowded or not, you're supposed to let passengers off before you try to board. As I exited the car, I stepped precisely on the toe of the young woman who ignored that rule. I'm a small person, so I didn't really injure her. Blocking an egress or busy transportation path isn't really harmless in some cases, which is why I judge people for it. I've always had the opinion that if people are going to do stuff like this, the best way for them to learn is to plow through them. There was this girl in high school who stopped in the middle of one of those fire door things. I walked through her as if she wasn't even there. Your main character syndrome is not my problem, Megan. Making a word possessive when it should be plural. These days especially. It happens a lot. Don't even get me started on unnecessary commas. Not as annoying as should have instead of should have. People that walk side by side in public walkways or aisles and either walk slow or don't budge for a single person coming the other way. I just stop dead where I'm at and I force them to move. Also, people who walk together on a jogging track and won't budge even though they can clearly hear people coming behind them. PPL who don't flush in a public bathroom. There's a special section in hell for people like that. Same goes for people who piss on the seats, or use up all the TP and neglect to inform store staff, and make no effort whatsoever to clean it. Leaving pee drops all over the seat, gross. Okay, I get that you want to squat, not sit, but can you at least *king clean up after yourself? These people have no manners. When I was young, there would sometimes be signs in public bathrooms that said, "If you sprinkle when you tinkle, please be neat and wipe the seat." They always sounded silly, but also it's incredible that people actually need to be reminded to wipe their own piss off toilet seats that other people need to sit on. The only plausible excuse I can imagine for not doing this is having some sort of disability. Also, people who don't wash their hand after using a public bathroom. Using AI for literally everything. Reddit commenters. Learning, that is fine to me as I do it too, but not for every petty thing. Like, checked how do I make coffee? Checked how do I install an app whose official guide is there and much better than AI? Checked how do I make friends? Checked what should I say to make GF? Fact checking, though, but Chath said this, your chat disagrees with you. Like bro, I am subject expert, I know what I am speaking. Immediately makes me ignore anything they, even if it is true. Good God. I have a coworker that literally asks Grok everything and assumes it's always 100% right. No critical thinking at all. Bro. I just had an assignment in one of my classes, annuals and perennials. Super easy assignment. We take pics of a garden bed/container we like and one we don't like and we explain why we do/don't like it. It's literally our own opinion, it's so easy. Anyways, the class after they were due, my teacher had announced that some of the assignments were done with AI, it's our own opinion and people still asked a damn robot. It's baffling. When GF/friends start poking in my food before I had my first poke. casually seeing a guy in college. We went to get pancakes one night and he reached across the table and syruped my pancakes. I was horrified. Sir, you do not know my syrup preferences. How dare you? He syruped them for you? Like you were a toddler? Good lord. Please tell me he didn't get a kiss goodnight. I had a coworker do this at a Christmas party. I am vegetarian, so got a large baked potato for my main course. For some reason no one else did, but they all had steaks. I got my potato all ready with butter and sour cream, and before I could take my first bite, he put his fork in and took a bite. Everyone was shocked and I'll never forget it. And then what happened? Please tell me. Everyone yelled at him. It's incredibly rude, but I'll go gross. That's incredibly rude. I don't blame you. Having their phones on with loud audio in public. Whether it's a call or FaceTime on speakerphone or their YouTube or Insta or whatever. I judge the shit out of the morons that do that. Especially when people are watching/flipping through reels on Insta or TikTok. Every 2 seconds. It is a new sound and new music, each more obnoxious than the one before. It is the equivalent of flipping through TV channels back in the day where you stop at each one for a few seconds and flip to the next one. It is the most obnoxious thing ever. Yeah. Same. Either earphones, or if you have to take a call somewhere public, lower your voice and try to end the call as quick as possible. All talk. No listen. Especially when they're charismatic and funny. You have the honeymoon period of shallow laughter and a lot of one-word affirmations before you realize there's no relationship to be had there. Parents that let their spawn just run around like wild animals in stores and restaurants. I actually said something once to 2 older people that were letting their grandchildren run around and scream in a Panera and climb on the doors like a jungle gym while my mom and I were trying to relax with a coffee and pastry. They looked so shocked someone actually said something to them. Well, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna be rude, I'm also gonna call you out. Can you share what you said? I never know what to say to these people. I said something along the lines of, hey, I'm worried about your kids. They're like hanging off the door and I'm afraid they're gonna get hurt, and also we are trying to enjoy some coffee over there and it's just too much. I miss 24/7 grocery stores. 95% of those stores in my neck of the woods ended those hours when COVID hit. I did the majority of my shopping then as there were never kids around. Similarly, letting their children touch others without asking. I've had this happen so many times and it's the worst. Exactly this. It's also a good opportunity to start teaching about consent at a young age. Absolutely. Even just for keeping them safe, it's really important. I don't react well to unexpected touch, so it helps your kid not get an elbow to the face from a startled stranger. Agreed. I don't get how parents aren't ashamed to let their kids run around shrieking their heads off. Take them to a playground, where it is appropriate to act feral. I swear we have bad cultural degradation in this society where many people are extremely selfish and it's making everyone more angry and on edge. I think it's a cumulative effect of educational decline, economic decline, plus pandemic. Politics has contributed also. There are always exceptions, but people have generally gotten ruder, apathetic, and dumber. I am a retail manager and will always politely ask the parents to rein in their kids. Also, parents, please stop letting your kids walk around barefoot in stores. There is so much crap on our floors that can injure if we don't get to sweep it up in time. Oof. Yeah. I worked at restaurants in my youth, back staff, and I can still hear the crashing down of food/dishes when a server of ours got bumped by a running kid and kid almost got his ass burned by hot foods. Nothing happened, but I was completely flabbergasted that the parents tried to blame front staff for that. Our manager at the time was awesome and promptly protected our staff and politely asked that family to leave or CPS was going to be called. That honestly makes me more anxious than annoyed. I can't take my eyes off the kids if they're around me cause I'm afraid they're gonna get hurt or break something or whatever, and the parents aren't even looking at them, if they're even in sight. When people don't return my greetings, it makes me feel silly. This provokes an unreasonable degree of anger in me. I, with my social anxiety, forced myself to say hello. And you can't even deign to respond? That really loud breathing. Also loud drinking/swallowing. My father-in-law chews with his mouth open and it's so loud. I cannot sit next to him when we have dinner with them. I would not sit in the same room. People deserve to be shamed out loud for this. It's disgusting. Not loud drinking. Open mouth chewing. Oh my god, this times a million. Mouth breathing and lip smacking and chewing with their mouths open. Jail. When people blast videos on speaker in public instead of using headphones, harmless. Sure, but it drives me crazy every time. Similar. People who have to talk on speakerphone in public places then hold the phone up to their mouth when talking to it. It's just rude and wrong on too many levels. OMG, the ones that hold their phones like it's Apple Danish, so bizarre. Same. We are sharing a space. Can we please leave everyone's comfort bubble alone and not assault it? Having the sound on their mobile phone keypads switched on so that everyone can hear them typing. Speaker phone conversations in public. People who drive slow in the left passing lane on the highway. No self-awareness to those around them. Arguably not harmless. Statistically more likely to cause an accident. I have met people who legit go into the left lane on purpose and drive the speed limit because it's easier. It was a lot of selfish logic when I asked them to explain it. Shockingly, they were also not a nice person in general. Playing music out loud while on a hike in nature. Or at the beach. I want to hear the waves, not somebody's playlist. Tea making. If the tea bag and the milk are in the mug at the same time. I'm judging. I think it was George Bernard Shaw who said the quickest way to make two Englishmen fight is by asking them how to make a cup of tea. This is fine if and only if you let the tea brew first. If you put the water in and then immediately add milk and then mash the tea bag to get the color right, it's going to be shite. Even when I do it like that I think to myself, loser. And, it's not gonna taste as good. Tea in the microwave though? That's a whole new level of judgy for me. Relentless positivity. It's just fucking exhausting. I think it's called toxic positivity. Would've instead of would have or would've. I did not bother to learn the damn language. Only for you to mangle it. Could have been worse, you could have been condom filler. It is harmless and really minor. But I will consider you the worst troglodyte for it. The of, when it should be have, and not knowing the difference between apart and apart, even though they are functionally opposites, are my two biggest grammar pet peeves by far. Adding to this, I could care less, when they really mean they couldn't care less. I could care less, should be used as a warning or threat. I currently care a small amount, but you're annoying me and I will choose to stop caring at all if you don't stop. Folks who treat grocery store carts like they're optional to return. It's a tiny test of character. I love how common this response is. But I may be biased because I think the same thing. That and how people treat workers in a service role of customer-facing job. Being late, saying one thing but meaning another, bringing extra people to an event without asking. Canceling plans with no regard to what I have sacrificed to be there. Oh, that's just this week. Playing loud music at an outdoor area. I want to listen to the ocean waves. Not your crappy playlist. People who eat loudly or chew with their mouth open nauseated face. Being late, whether they like animals or not. People who get super close to you in the line during checkout, especially when it's not even crowded. I can feel their breath down my neck. Can we please keep the 6-foot rule? How they type. If someone messages me and it's like, Art M8HWZU? I will not open the message and will not respond. It gives me the face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting. Scraping their teeth on their forks when they eat or chewing loudly. Grammar and spelling mistakes. My petty ass just can't ignore them. Anyone who uses an airport code to refer to a city, when there is no airplane involved in the conversation, is a complete twatwaddle. Unless it's DFW, because that actually means Dallas of Fort Worth. If someone uses YYZ to refer to Toronto, yes, they are a douche. People that you give way to on the road not doing a nod or wave at you back. That's not very community-oriented like. I'm judging you. You are a cunt. Apostrophes in plural nouns. People who say, I seen that. I scream internally. Tardiness. Even when it doesn't matter at all. Being late bothers me. I don't know why. It just does. Don't use signal when turning right or left. I don't know, people feels like they're the coolest driver in the world not turning their signal on. That's far from harmless. That's actually illegal. People who enter through the exit doors at Walmart. Loud, ugly voices. People who use speakerphone in public. Why? Zero situational awareness. Truck nuts. So trashy. People who have a bunch of monologues that come up in conversations and have many code words that activate it. Like talking about anything to do education, they will launch into a whole rant about the system or a particular story. The conversation feels dead. People who say would've / could've instead of would have / could have. When someone is trying to exit an elevator and the people getting on don't let the people exiting leave the elevator first. Not smelling good. Really long toenails. Ultra long fingernails. They're disgusting to start with and people don't clean underneath them, face vomiting. Having their kids who are still using strollers be able to use a cell phone. Doesn't help that strollers available for rent at some malls have tablets installed in them, too. So much for human interaction and learning by observing. Slow walkers. Yes, that annoys me to no end. I naturally walk fast and I can't stand getting behind someone who walks too slowly. When they burp loudly and don't say sorry or excuse me afterwards. Racing ahead in lanes that are about to end. I know that more drivers in the legally drivable parts of the road frees space up for the other drivers behind and helps us all get through quicker, but I can't help but think they are weaselly line jumpers. Go ahead and judge. If the lane has to slow to let them back in, they've done more harm than good. I used to hate this too, but I've changed my mind. Using both lanes until they merge lessens congestion for everybody. There's a no-cutting instinct we all feel when that line moves faster, and we were smart enough to plan ahead for the lane closure. I think the best solution would be to include signs that say use both lanes, alternate your merge, whenever a lane closure sign is posted. I just did a 3,000 kilometers road trip. After a while you start to pass more and more attempting to get in a quiet traffic block. Sometimes people are driving slow and maybe they're almost where they try and go to, but when you have 9 more hours of driving that day and I don't know when I'm going to have another chance to pass someone slow, I'm going to pass you even if it looks silly. People who put the TP roll on the wrong way. It drives me insane. You pull from the front of the roll, damn it. Found the person who's never owned a cat. Unless you have a cat. Putting it on the wrong way usually prevents the cat from unrolling the entire roll. Velcro wallets. I'm not proud of myself. When people have to stand 1 inch from my nose to talk to me, even when I try distancing myself from these guys, there's always those people who just can't talk to you normally unless they're in your face. Wearing pajama pants in public, have some standards. Even sweatpants are better than that. Spitting on the sidewalk or in public, disgusting. No one wants to see your loogie on their walk. People who let their kids run wild and or scream without restraint, especially in enclosed areas like a mall or a library. Inconsiderate smokers. The ones who smoke right in front of buildings or in their cars or inside and inflict the stench and cancer on everyone around them. People who leave their shopping carts wherever they want instead of returning them to the caddy. Loud voices, like if I'm sitting a few tables away from you in a restaurant and I can still hear your entire conversation. Some people don't know what inside voices are. Putting their backpack on the seat next to them on the train so no one can sit there when the train is filled and people are standing. If you didn't pay for 2 seats, you have no business taking up 2 seats, and they have overhead luggage racks if you can't put your bag on your lap or the floor in front of you for some reason. Seriously, some old woman with a cane is standing and you're 20-something with your backpack on the seat next to you and a puss on daring someone to mess with you. You should be giving her your seat. Never mind staking out a second seat. People who when merging don't know how to zipper. Drives me nuts daily. Milk before the cereal. There are people that do this? My brain does not compute. I'm actually off to go eat my cereal now. Not doing the little hopwave fast walk thing when cars let them cross the road. See also, not doing the little finger wave to thank a car for letting you merge. I completely let go of the hop fast walking part when I became chronically ill. The wave stays, the rest is needless. I'm not going to walk faster BC you letting me cross the street PRBC you're holding the door open for me. Both kinds gestures, but I didn't ask for you to do it. If you're going to do something kind, you shouldn't expect for them to rush as a form of gratitude. A little wave and thank you, of course. Hate this car superiority mentality, not saying you're consciously choosing that mentality, it's societal not individual. Yielding to pedestrians is required by law in all 50 states. I'm not going to speedwalk because you're doing what you're required to do. Cars have destroyed our cities and mindsets like this are one symptom of it. People who do not keep their carts to one side in the grocery aisle or just leave it sit while they go somewhere else for whatever reason. I live in a street corner, and in the summer I often hear the music people are blasting in their cars when they're sitting in red lights, and I judge them for it. If I can hear it, it's too loud. Protect your hearing, you dumbass. And also for listening to bad music. People who stand in the middle of stairs to do something on their phone. I'm talking wide stairs like at a train station. I saw that on Friday and it blew my mind. People went around him, but it was absolutely odd. It's one thing to be a fan, but someone that is obsessed with a celebrity like they talk about the celebrity daily. Holding their phones like Star Trek communicators. Screen up, shouting into the bottom of the phone. There's a speaker at the top, designed to be held to your ear. Try it out. Men who go to the gym but don't train their lower body. I would argue that's harmful, but not to the public. It's bad for the gym, bro. There's a quadruplex next door. One of the current tenants blasts music while sitting in the driveway, presumably waiting for someone to get ready and meet them out front. Sometimes it goes on for 1 minute, sometimes 20. It's so loud that my windows rattle. I acknowledge that my windows being single pane are the problem, but I'm also a tenant. It usually doesn't bother me. I've lived with other people in so many different places that it would be more weird if I heard nothing. But it is irritating because there's no reason for it. I can't imagine being in the car when it's so loud. No way that's comfortable. Buying/wearing luxury fashion/accessories. Or even just needlessly expensive brand clothing like a Nike t-shirt or anything from Supreme. I get that brands like Nike and the lot have good quality exercise/sportswear. But carrying around a $30 eco bag with a corporate logo on it is just weird to me. Parents who allow their children to run around a restaurant or store with no supervision or manners. So ridiculous and absolutely causes me rage. A friend who sets 17 alarms, waking everyone else but himself, and he still wakes up late. It's totally harmless, but I'm pissed and jealous because he's able to sleep peacefully while in this chaos. What people do with shopping carts once they're done with them. I am kind of appalled at people's seeming inability to walk and navigate in a predictable way. It feels like people genuinely don't even seem to see me even when they're looking directly at me and I have to do a weird shuffle around them. It's freaking weird. Being religious. That's not harmless tbh. Many wars and terrorist attacks have happened in history and even presently, example, Palestine versus Israel, because of religion. Religion is anything but harmless. Religion is the root cause of big evils in mankind. I don't judge people for being religious, but when they try and force it on people or judge people for not agreeing, that PMO. When they put the $ after the number rather than before, e.g. $123, annoys me so much and I have no idea why. That's often a cultural thing. You'll see that in many countries. Edit, I'm in Ontario but will travel to Quebec often, and that's how they do currency. Shoe choices. Crocs have entered the chat. Scratching in public body parts you shouldn't be scratching in public. Bad grammar. Having a turkey teeth. The ridiculously white, plastic-looking veneers. I'm a barista. People who ask for sugar after I've done the latte art. Saying could've when they should be seeing could've. I let it go long enough, and recently saw some moron saying kind VE. When someone says, I'm a nice guy out loud. Instant suspicion. Extreme manspreading on public transport. Parents who let their kids go out in public with a dirty face and unbrushed hair. Also if they're in their PJs. People running the water the whole time they brush their teeth. Not putting grocery carts where they belong. Basic table manners when eating. People who demand specific accommodations at the expense of others and make their problems everyone else's problem. I absolutely believe that as a society we can work to be more courteous and compassionate. But people who show up entitled and disrespectful, expecting everyone around them to bend to meet their standards or comfort level is ridiculous behavior. Open-mouth chewers. People who have a new car every 3 to 5 years. I just assume they're bad with money. Bad breath. Putting the fucking shipping cart back versus leaving it by the curb, etc. Be a better person, please. Driving below the speed limit. Driver who brakes before getting in the turn lane. Move over then brake FFS. Riding bicycles on the sidewalk. Annoying for sure, but that is potentially harmful. Annoying, possibly harmful, and also illegal in places. Breathing. Sorry Americans, but sandals and socks outside your home makes my eyes bleed. Worst look possible. Too bad. I'm adding in cargo shorts and a fanny pack. Just to spite you. Hi, there. American here. That is highly frowned upon here too. Unmuted scrolling in public places. As a frequent traveler myself, people who ask for travel advice and say stuff like, we don't like touristy things and prefer off-the-beaten-path recommendations/hidden gems, especially in major tourist destinations. Like I get wanting to not go somewhere that won't provide you with a high-quality experience. But also, you're a tourist. People who stop in the middle of any sort of walkway with awareness of their surroundings, be it a sidewalk, grocery store aisle, airport, etc. Seeing children in airport lounges or nice restaurants, really anywhere that is supposed to be an upscale experience. 10 times out of 10, there will be at least one child wreaking havoc and a parent doing nothing about it. People playing things on speakerphone in public. When people have too many layers on /coats/hats etc. when it's not cold. As a writer, a lot of my pet peeves are when people write stuff incorrectly. All of the sudden, hence why. This one is becoming so common I hate it so badly. Yay! Or nay, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing. Oh, and related, but recently I saw, the eyes have it. That one didn't bother me as much. I think it bothers me more when it's a common mistake. Oh, and people using overwhelm as if it's a noun? As in, stop the overwhelm. Do they know what they're doing? This is what happens when editors get lazy or things are not proofread, because yes, believe it or not, some big brands use this phrase. People who sneeze or cough really loud in public. I hate you. When two people just stand in the middle of the stairs and talk, not putting their shopping cart back in the cart return. If I see you doing that, you're on my shit list. Chewing loudly. Harmless indeed, but drives me crazy. When kids are making an absolute ruckus outside right in front of their parents. And said parents don't do anything about it. To them they're just kids, but to me, and probably everyone else, it's so annoying. I am working with disabled people and I can see over years in that field they are still burdened to society. I wish disabled people would be categorized more as normal, that's my opinion. Too much judging. Those are also people with soul, friends and family. When a wannabe talentless content creator adds their stupid ugly ass face for a reaction video or with water in their mouth, I don't want to see you. Dirty shoes. No self-awareness with BO. Especially in the gym. Absolute zero spatial awareness. Loud breathing / chewing. I have misophonia, but it's enough to piss anyone who doesn't even have it. IG. Talking while eating at the same time. And covering up their mouth with this weird hand placement that you see many influencers do. Using astrology / zodiac signs as an excuse to their behavior, whether good or bad. Tall people who stand in front of you at a concert. Dress shoes with ankle socks. Dress shoes with NO socks. Seen that more often than I care to admit. Liking Taylor Swift. Where you place your shopping cart. Not holding doors open for people. Using pet-friendly dye to dye their dog's fur. Their voice and the way they talk. Why, everyone has a different way to talk. How their suit fits. In most situations. Correcting someone else's grammar, or complaining when someone gets it wrong. I used to be this person, but learning about the language has shown me how difficult English really is. Native speakers frequently get it wrong. Hell, I'm a native speaker with a BA in grammar and rhetoric and I get shit wrong. The rules are from about 4 different languages and sometimes are completely arbitrary, e.g. not ending sentences with prepositions. Poor grammar and spelling is not a reason to ignore someone else's thoughts. Of course, hearing people say or write anyways instead of anyway makes my eyes twitch every time. So, there's that. When someone has unread notifications in like hundreds, I just can't. People who say, I could care less, when they mean, I couldn't care less, you're literally saying the opposite of what you're trying to convey, and it's so dumb. UUGGH. People that unironically insist one vehicle manufacturer is better than another and insist on pointing out you drive the wrong one. I live in rural America and the amount of people I meet that truly do believe in their soul Ford / Chevy is better than the opposite brand and they assign a bias to you if you drive one or the other. I can't help but question their intelligence level and therefore most of their other opinions seem tainted to me. The people who don't use their turn signals at a stop sign or just driving in general and then turn when you're clearly sitting there waiting for them thinking they were going straight. When people don't return their shopping trolleys, they're usually the same people who don't replace toilet rolls. Talking / laughing really loudly in public. Slow response to TXTs or calls. It's about respect. People that don't flush the bathroom in a public place. Very annoying. Talking on speakerphone. When people are intentionally unimpressed by impressive stuff just because they think being a contrarian is a flex. Les gens command gent les frites avant le burger french fries hamburger. Succomet tent le lait avant les cereals. Succa dissent James Paulo. Succa écrivant SAVA, au luda, CAVA. Et bien sûr, succa la sent le minuteur du microondes a 003 au luda eleanor. I agree that pouring milk before cereal in the bowl is barbaric. I must disagree about the French fries first, because French fries taste best when hot, and are awful cold, whereas the hamburger is still just as delicious if it has cooled a bit. People who sneak a bite of something out of the fridge before it was supposed to go on the table. I can't tell you how many times I've had to put a pretty casserole or pie or layer dip on the table with a little bit already scooped out of the corner, and it makes me so freaking mad. People who can't differentiate between a loose and a loose. I can't stand anyone who spits on the street or in the sea. I find it rude and disgusting. Walking around in public in PJs. I get really mad when I'm watching a movie with someone and they don't pay attention to it. People who take phone calls on speakerphone in public. I try not to be judgmental in any aspect, but habitual dishonesty is one thing I just don't tolerate from others. Not putting the grocery carts in the receptacles in the parking lots. Their parking job. People who park on a machine at the gym and scroll through their phone for 15 minutes while other people are waiting to use it. When they don't smile at my dog. Dogs are 4-legged sources of joy and love. How can anyone not smile at a dog? My issue is when the owner refuses to say I talk to them about their dogs or whatever. Pronouncing it H. This one specifically really annoys me. Not putting the shopping cart back in the proper place and blocking the walkways. One more, parents whining about how expensive Disneyland is. One could argue it's extortion, but you can, just not go. Explain to kids about money and go to a cheaper park with rides. Driving a Tesla. People who don't like spicy food or coffee. It just seems so childish to me. It's so silly. Why should they try to like foods that hurt their mouths? Or drink bitter bean juice to be seen as reasonable to me? But I judge them all the same. When I'm talking to someone and they are staring at their phone, regularly consuming diet soda, unpolished/unkempt shoes. Yes, I am the Gen X daughter of a career military man who learned how to spit shine early on. I married a military man. We have a basket full of shoe polishes, suede sprays, and appropriate buffing cloths and brushes. Seeing a man in a suit, with busted-looked shoes makes me cringe. Drinking matcha, cries in Japanese. Getting tuna fish sandwiches at sub shops, there are just so many other options. Wearing pajamas outside. My fashion ick, but at the end of the day, also I don't care. But still, when people answer Reddit posts incorrectly and still get upvotes for it. Like in this case, I've seen a couple of traffic-related answers. Obviously, those are not harmless. People who can't order something straight from the menu and have to customize their meal. I have a friend who does this and it is so embarrassing. Hi, I'll take the cheeseburger, but can you put the ketchup on the side and make sure the lettuce isn't wilting, and also if you only have purple onions then leave them off, but if you have regular yellow onions then you can leave them on. Also, is the bun gluten-free? If you have a gluten-free bun then that would be perfect. If not, then I guess just leave the bun off. OMG, it is ridiculous. Guilt/shame, neutrality, fear, chewing with their mouths open, or smacking their food, audibly playing with hard candy in their mouths. Close your fucking mouth, close it. Pretty sure I have misophonia, cause I get like raged out when I hear that shit. Saliva pops and other sounds and ASMR stuff triggers me as well. Anyway, you're not a horse-faced cow person, so stop eating like one. People who walk in the middle of a path super slow. Like if you're walking with someone and you wanna chat, stick to the side, cause what if the person behind you is rushing to get somewhere? This happens a lot to me on campus and it low-key pisses me off. Wearing shoes without socks. The stank that's unleashed once you take them off. Just why? People who block traffic waiting for a parking spot despite plenty of spots available further away, or who block traffic because they have to back into their spot. People that talk on their phone in a public restroom. I'm a library clerk and it really grinds my gears when someone takes out a book, decides they don't want it, and puts it literally anywhere other than the exact spot they pulled the book from or one of the carts we have around the library, specifically for people to put their unwanted items on. People who eat Kit Kats without breaking them into their separate fingers. I work at a Pizza Hut. Someone with a tomato allergy called in for a pizza. Yeah, I know we obviously can make it work for them, but I would think not to order from a place that is mainly tomato-based with a tomato allergy. When people walk their dog off leash on NYC sidewalks. People that say anyways. There is no S in anyway. Just ran a 10K this morning. 2,000 plus runners. Who are these people who run with music blasting from their fucking phones in their hands? And why do they all have such terrible taste? Is K-pop or death metal screeching from agonizing tiny speakers something that pushed them to run faster or something? When people are on the phone during work. I don't give a shit if you're texting at work. I do that too. But when people get on their phone, on the floor, and call someone, it pisses me off. Walk outside, go to the bathroom, do something. Crocs. Tattoos. If you have a bunch of low-quality tattoos just randomly placed on your body, it speaks volumes to me about you. Never taking any of my suggestions to heart. If you never trust to watch any show or movie or book I recommend, why would I bother engaging with yours? Whether they double-dip chips. Small. But it's telling. Lack of style. Zero effort. Talking on speakerphone in public.